All right, so today we're going to make the star light up card. First, we're going to start with this, which is our battery holder. So in order to do that, we get some of our copper tape, and I find it's easier to cut a little bit off in order to do this. So we need 2 pieces. Just cut 2 pieces there. And you start by, we'll start by folding along all the score lines, just so everything is already done. All right, and we will start with our first piece of copper tape. So I start about here, and just go across, trying to make it as smooth as possible. And then fold to here. So we've got it like that. And this is what I usually do. The bottom is the positive side, and then the tab is the negative. So to do the negative, we flip it over and get your copper tape. And this one, you just start at the top and then go down to that last score line and just keep it flat, and because these will actually run onto your circuit template. Okay, so now flip it back and we're going to fold this over. So you have an L shape for the positive, you flip it over, and your negative runs this way. All right, so now what I do is I get my glue runner and I just put this down so that it's stuck to the page and I don't have to worry about it. Okay. All right, so we're going to start by running the positive tape first. So we'll just follow the guidelines down there. And what we're going to do is we need to leave some space for the switch. So when I get to that part, I am just going to cut it and leave that there. And then I'm going to get some more copper tape now and just continue on after the switch. And just go all the way down. Now, if it breaks like this one did here, what you can do is just continue running, but I usually go so it overlaps a little bit and just go over it. All right, and then we'll cut it there. Okay. And now what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and do the circuits on the negative side. And I find if you're doing a 90-degree fold, it works best if you just fold it backwards on itself, and then you can almost just do a triangle. And then it goes down. And same here, so we don't have enough tape to get to the end. So just overlap it and go back. Okay, I'll just cut it there. I just like to make sure it's nice and smooth when I do it. And that's about it. Okay, so now we've got this part set up. I have my soldering iron warming up right now. I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean so that it's ready to go. You can, if you don't feel comfortable using a soldering iron, everything that I'm soldering on, you can actually just tape down. The only thing is it doesn't hold it. I don't find it's very, if you're mailing the card, I find that you get a lot of loose circuits and stuff stops working. Also, before I run my circuit, I always like to test and make sure the LED is working. So now if you look on the LED lights, they have one leg that's longer than the other. The long leg is generally the positive. And so what I do to test it before I start running the actual, like soldering all this stuff down, put the positive to positive, negative to negative, and just make sure your lights up. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and place my battery in its little holder. So you make sure that the negative side goes onto the top, the positive side is down, and then this just tucks over, and I usually tuck the flap underneath just so it stays. All right, so that is in. And you can do a little test here. So I bend the leg of the LED and just kind of test it and make sure everything works. So as long as the positive's on the positive, negative's on the negative, it will work. If you want, you can use a Sharpie to mark which one's negative, which one's positive, because obviously if it's flipped around, it will not work for you. All right. And if you find that the battery holder is not holding the battery well enough, what you can always do is just give a bit of tape on it just to make sure everything stays in place. I do like to leave this little gap in here open because that's where, if you're going to be mailing these cards, what you want to do is, and I've included it in the template, is include almost like a little slip that goes in under the battery so that you don't have to worry about the battery wearing out while it's in transit. All right. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and start soldering down my switch. Now you will notice the switch has two little legs on it. I find the easiest way is either to get a pair of needle nose pliers or just a pair of scissors and fold these down. They are a little delicate, so you just have to be careful when you're bending them. Okay, so we want to make sure they're flat so that we can put them on our circuit and that they work. Now, on the circuit template, this switch is actually lined up with the cut hole on the card, so you want to make sure that the square matches the square there. Okay. And this is just the electrical solder that I got from Canadian Tire. It's 1.6 millimeters, and it works well. So we are going to put some solder down. There we go. Okay. Now it is very, very hot, so just be careful when you're doing this. So if you prefer, you can use tweezers. I find I don't have as much control with tweezers. So I get the solder down before, and then just kind of go on top of it, hold it for a few seconds just to make sure, and then do the same on the other side. And then just hold it down until it cools down. Okay. Now this is also, before you solder down the LED, this is a good time to test and make sure everything works. If it doesn't, then you can, so right now it is, oh, there we go. So just make sure it works. And now you can bend the legs of the LED just to make sure they fit properly and can hold the circuit. So there we go. So what I will do is I just mark where I need to solder roughly so that I don't have to worry about it being in the wrong place. Okay, so got the solder down. Now this is a good place if you have tweezers and you want to use them, because these parts do get hot, especially when the soldering iron touches them. And same thing, if you need to make sure the positive's on the right side. Okay, so it's down. I'm just going to add a bit on top of this side because it didn't quite go down. And then just use your tweezers to make sure it's in. All right. All right, so now if we test it, it should work. And melted a bit of the plastic underneath. All right, so now what we are going to do, the circuit is done. So now we can put together the pieces of the card. So this part here is the part that goes underneath the stitches so that you don't see everything underneath. And you can use either the glue runner. I prefer to use zip dry for this part. And it's a little clogged up right now. All right, so now we can go and add the glue. And then we just stick the star on so that it lines up with the edges here. Okay. And this side is a little bit shorter. Oh, shoot. Or if you do what I did and do it on the wrong side, I'll just flip it around. So yes, make sure you do it on the right side. Don't do what I did. The good news with zip dry, and this is one of the reasons I love it, is once this dries, I can actually just clean this up. So this is my happy little accident here to show you what not to do. But yes, this is one of the reasons I love zip dry, and poof, the happy little accident is all cleaned up now. All right, now for the back of the star, you can use vellum, you can use anything you have actually that you want. You can use tissue paper, although it's a little too delicate if you are shipping it or mailing it. This is a shiny vinyl that I picked up off of AliExpress. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue tape or the glue runner down, put this on top. I just find I prefer having something to filter the light than having the light right on. So, and then we'll just test it. So this is what it will look like when it lights up. Okay, if you do need to move the LED down, you can do that. You can push the wires. I have set it up on the template, so where it is does line up perfectly with that. And what I have done is I always have a set of 5x7 just plain white cards. You can do them any color you want. I just have them ready to go, so if I need cards, they're ready for the front. And I will just use my glue gunner. There. And then lay the circuit down. Now, on the circuit, you will notice I have left the space around here for the tape. Now, I just use this is the foam mounting tape I use. I picked it up at an art store. You can use the one from the dollar store. You can use anything else. But what you do want to do is there's a gap here, and you're going to leave that so that there is room for the battery protector. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay this down around. Okay, and I'm just going to do one last little piece for that corner. All right, so that is the foam tape laid down all the way around. All right, so before I actually put this down onto the tape so that it's permanent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wand portion of it down. So I am just going to put glue on the back. And feel free to use the glue runner or any other adhesive that you would like that works for you. All right, so we're just going to put this down and make sure that it goes over the hole, which is where the switch will go. So when you press, that's where you press. All right. And the other thing is I have cut the Make-A-Wish sentiment out of vinyl, and I'm just going to put that down. Try to make it as straight as possible. Now, same thing, you can cut it out of whatever you like. You can leave it out. You can print it right on the paper. I just find this is the vinyl I don't use for anything else, and it works really well. I think it was the Silhouette stuff that was on clearance. And I don't use any special mounting tape, I just use regular Scotch tape. Alright, so the sentiment is on, and we are ready now to stick this on here. Feel free to add anything you like, rhinestones. You can add, what I have is I have a bunch of gems that I'm going to use for this one. And I'm going to use these ones here. So I am just going to spill out a few onto my work surface just to make it easier. And then same thing, just get my zip dry. And just so we'll start with that. And then I have the Silhouette Pick Me Up tool. Just add a few more. Right. So just add what you want onto it. Same thing with the zip dry. This is the reason I love it. If I smudge over, I can actually just go afterwards and clean up wherever it's gone over. So what we are going to do now is take off the backing for the tape. And this is where, so you'll see where the hole is and just line up that. And if you find it's not straight, you can always go back and just peel it. And make sure it lines up. Okay, just get it down. Until it's down where you want it. And there we go. Right. Yep. Now the other option with the wand piece, if you find that the mounting tape is not giving it enough room, what you can do is just cut a few pieces and actually just stick the wand on the mounting tape instead. I find, depending on how I do this, I also have a box template that I have created for these, just because I find it works a little bit better for mailing and just general presentation and tidiness. I'm not a huge fan of doing the tape all around. I will eventually get around to posting the box template and doing a tutorial with that, but for now, if you find that you want the wand a little bit higher so that it works with the button, just do that. And there you have it. You have your Make-A-Wish. And I will have to go and stick back on the rhinestones that fell off while I was being a little rough with it. All right, so there you go.